let's make this top together. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I will go back to one of my very first loves in crocheting, which is the classic granny square. And that's why I'm sharing this beautiful, cute top that is basically constructed all with granny squares and some added straps and things. I think it is a very fun project. It is very beginner friendly. I love it because I can take it on the go with me. You can switch out the granny square style with any granny square you would like to do. I will be showing this exact one today, and also I will be showing how I would switch colors if I would do a colorful version of this, because I have done that in the past as well and I wanted to include that. If you don't want to miss any future step-by-step tutorials or videos of me taking you along my creative process, then feel free to subscribe. I would love for you to join. Let's get right into how I made this top. Alright, so the game plan is to make quite a few granny squares and then assemble them together. I want this to be a crop top, so I will go ahead and crochet 13 squares. If you want a longer top, you would just have to add rows at the bottom to lengthen it. So for this top I will be using this cotton yarn and a 4mm hook. I think you can basically use any yarn that is not too thick, because I would consider this silhouette more of a summer top. For some reason I like to size up my hook size a little bit from what the yarn recommends using. Probably because it works up a little bit quicker and I like that I have a lot of control grabbing the yarn. Just have a look at what hook size your yarn recommends and use that, or do as I do and size up the hook size maybe one size larger. That's what I did for this one. There are two different ways I know how to start a granny square. The goal of both methods is to have a circle in the middle. You can start working into and building your rows from going out from this inner circle. I will be showing you the two methods that I know of starting that circle. After creating that circle, there will be no differences in how I create the granny squares from that point out. Alright, to start off this method, I will be starting off with a slip knot. I like to do mine like this, a little bit slower. So the end of the yarn is on that side and I twist it so the end part is on the bottom. Grabbing the end of the yarn but still keeping it in my right hand, I'm going to pull it through like that. Now when I put my hook on the loop, I can pull on the end of the yarn and it will tighten around the hook like this. To start off the granny square with this method, I will be chaining 4. So that means I yarn over, pull through the loop that was on the hook and do that 4 times. So that was 1, yarn over, pull through, that was 2, 3 and 4, like that. And after that you have a chain of 4. And I will now insert my hook into the very first stitch here, yarn over, pull the yarn through. So now I have 2 loops on my hook, and then the first loop that I just pulled through, I will be pulling through the last one. So that's called a slip stitch. What that does is, it is a little bit hard to see, but when you wiggle it out a little bit, you basically have created a circle. So it was a straight line and I connected it to the very start. So now there should be somewhat of a hole in the middle. To start off the very first row, what I'm always going to do is chain 2, and from here on out that would be the first row where I would start working in that middle space we have just created. So I would go in here and start working my very first row. And how I do that I will show you after I show you the magic ring method. I am going to open this up again and show you the method that I like to use a little bit more. That would be the magic ring. So it is a little bit hard to explain, so I will try to show it very slowly and try to explain it with words as well. So I have the end of the yarn here, and I will be putting it around 3 of my fingers. So I have my little finger at the end to hold it down a little bit easier. I have it like this. I will wrap it around my hand as I'm twisting my hand also. And then when I'm at the top of my hand, I will cross it over like this. Now I'm holding it down with my little finger, so now I have my right hand free to grab my hook. I will show again how that side looks. So here's the end, and when I turn, it looks like this. Now I'm grabbing the hook, going under here, grabbing the yarn, pulling it through, and now my goal is to put my hook inside here and getting my fingers out. So now it looks like this. So from here on out, I will put the yarn a little bit to the back so it lines up with the hook basically. So now I can put the yarn around my finger as I would normally do. From the start, I like to hold down that circle that I created here a little bit to make it easier on myself to then start off the first row with a chain 2. Earlier we had the chain that created the ring. Now we have this rather big ring here, which we can later close easily by pulling the end piece. So as you can see here, that circle gets smaller when I pull on that side. I like to have it a little bit bigger for the start. Starting off with the very first row. It doesn't matter if you did the magic ring or the chaining 4. The important part is we have a middle space we can work into. So starting off with the first row, I will be working with half double crochet for the granny squares, and I am going to crochet 12 half double crochets into the chain space, not counting the chain 2 at the very start. So what do I mean by that? I will yarn over, and while doing this, I will hold the circle down so it's a little bit more stable. Yarning over, going into the circle, yarning over again, pulling through like that. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. I will yarn over and pull through all of these 3. So again, I will yarn over, go into the circle, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. That's what I'm going to do until I have 12 of these half double crochets. So that was my 12th one. So I have the chain 2 at the very start, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now it looks like I have just crocheted a straight line, but when I pull this end piece like this, it will come together and form this circle. Now that I have the circle, you can see the V shape of the stitches that we just did, and going into the very first V shape with my hook without yarning over first. So I'm going to go into that chain space, yarning over, pulling through. So now I have 2 loops on my hook, and now I am taking the first loop and pulling it through the second loop. That's a slip stitch. And this is basically the first row done. And to start off the second row, I will be chaining 2 again. And this time around, I will be treating the chaining 2 as if it was a half double crochet. It lines up mostly with the stitch right next to it. So the very first stitch I will be putting the next stitch into, or loop, is here. I will keep going with the half double crochet, so yarn over, and I will be skipping this chain space and go into here because I treat it as if this is the half double crochet that belongs to that stitch. So I'm skipping it here, going into the chain space, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, and pull it through all 3 loops. So now I have basically 2 stitches done, and I am going to do a third one in the next stitch, And now that I have 3, I will be chaining 1 and go into the next chain space with half double crochet. And now do 2 more half double crochets into the next 2 chain spaces. So that is 3, 1, 2, 3, and then do chain 1 again. And then I will do another 1, 2, 3 half double crochets, chain 1, and then again 1, 2, 3, chain 1 until I'm at the start again. What that does is starting off the square shape. So every time I do a chain 1, it will end up the corner piece of the granny square. So I will show you the rest of the way. So that's 1, that's 2, and that's 3, always going into the next stitch, chain 1, and then do 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. So, as you can see here, that's the point where I started to chain 2 to start this row. The last thing I need to do for this row is chain 1, because that's the last corner. So after chaining 1, I will look at the top of the stitches again and go into that chain space. Here, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on my hook to do a slip stitch. That is row 2. It still looks like a circle for now, but with the next row it will start to look like a square, I promise. So, starting off the row again with a chain 2, and this time around we will be starting to work into the chain 1 spaces we did before. So in the row below we put our half double crochet into every single stitch. Now we are working the corners. So I will be working only in the spaces where I did the chain 1 in between the clusters of 3. Treating the chaining 2 as if it was a half double crochet. So I yarn over, I go into the space. It is a little bit hard to see at the beginning, but here is the chain 1 space that is in between the 3 half double crochets here and the 3 half double crochets here. I will be yarning over and going into that space like this, so it is not really a stitch but more a gap that is in between. Yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through all 3. Because I treat this as a half double crochet, I need to do 1 more to have 3 into the exact same chain space. So I have 3 stitches here. I will chain 1 and go to the next gap that is after 3 stitches. If you cannot really see the gap because it is way too close together, you can count the 3 stitches. So it is 1, 2, and 3. So I need to go into the gap that is right here. So from here I will yarn over, go into that space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Whenever you switch to the next corner, the stitch that goes over might look a little bit more stretched, but don't worry, that's how it's supposed to be. And I will do 2 more half double crochet into the exact same corner space. So now I have 3 half double crochet in this one corner. I will do chain 1 and then do another 3 half double crochet into the exact same corner. Yarn over. So 1, 2, and 3. So what that does is you kind of see how the square is starting to form now, because we have 3 half double crochet on that side, then we have the chaining 1 that creates the corner, and then going with the other 3 half double crochet into the same chain space, it starts the other side of the square. And that's how we are going to continue. I will be chaining 1 to transition into the next corner space. Now I count my stitches because I can't really see or tell where the corner is. So 1, 2, 3, and then do 3 half double crochets into that space. So 1, 2, and 3. Now that I have 3, I will be chaining 1 for the corner and then do 3 more half double crochets into the same gap. Like this. Chaining 1 to bridge over to the next corner and then do 3 half double crochets into the next corner. Chain 1, do another 3 into the same exact gap, like this, chain 1. And because I started off the row with having 3 stitches into that corner space, I am still missing the end of that side, basically. So what I'm going to do is do another 3 half double crochet into the last corner, chain 1 to do the very corner, and now do a slip stitch into the very first stitch we made. So I'm going in, yarning over, pulling through, and pulling through the loop on my hook like this. And this is that row finished. So now it's starting to look like a little square. The further you go out, the more rows you do, the more it looks like a square. And if it's not perfect at the end, there's always the possibility to block your squares. That's what a lot of people do. But I am going to show you how I would go about the next row now. Starting off the next row with a chain 2 again, that I will again consider as a stitch. I will be working again into the spaces where I have chained 1 before. How I like to do it, and I don't think that is the most proper way to do it, but that's how I like to do it because I feel like that makes sense to me. I will be starting with doing a half double crochet into the very first corner that I also start with. So it kind of looks like I go back a stitch because the chaining 1 corner is right here. I have the 1, 2, 3 stitches on that side and the 1, 2, 3 stitches on that side, and I go between those clusters like this and then work my half double crochet and then do 1 more into the exact same gap like this. And since I have treated the chaining 2 as a half double crochet, I count this as a cluster of 3 now. So now I can go into the next gap. Again, doing a chaining 1. Now, instead of going directly into the next corner, I will be working into the space that was created where I also chained 1 the row before. So I will do 3 half double crochets in here, chain 1, and then do the same method of a corner as I did the row before. So I will do 3 half double crochets into the corner first, then chain 1, and then do another 3 half double crochet into the same gap. Chain 1 and search for the next gap where I have put the chain 1 and put another 3 half double crochets into that gap. And another corner, so that means 3 half double crochets, chaining 1, and then doing another 3 half double crochets into the exact same corner. Chain 1 and do 3 half double crochet into the next gap, chain 1, and repeat the same corner process. So 1, 2, and 3 half double crochets, chaining 1, and do another 3. Chain 1, and the last side piece, chaining 1. The only thing left to do is finishing off the corner. So I have already 1 cluster of 3, so I will have to do another cluster of 3 half double crochets, chaining 1, and then go into the very first stitch like that, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on the hook. And that is the next row done. So to start off the next row, I will start with a chain 2 again. And that pattern is repeated for each row that I will be adding. So for the start, there's going to be the chain 2 going into the corner piece where in the row below I did the chain 1 so that I have a cluster of 3, and then chaining 1 every time I switch over to a new gap. And each row that I grow, I will be having 1 more cluster of 3 to create one side of the square. So for this row, I will be doing the cluster of 3 in the corner, chaining 1, and then doing another cluster of 3 half double crochets in here, chaining 1, another cluster of 3 half double crochets in here, chaining 1, and then doing another corner piece the exact same way that I did in that row and in that row. So meaning cluster of 3, chaining 1, and then cluster of 3 in the very same chain space or gap, and then repeating the pattern for all 4 sides. For the row after that, there will be 1 more space like this, if that makes sense. I will be repeating that exact pattern until I reach that size. Alright, so I will meet you again when I have the size of the square that I need. So I have the square right here, and I'm going to show you now why I stop at this row and how it might be different for you. So my end goal is to have the front of the top to be 3 squares in width. So what this square has to do is go from one side of my chest, and the top is going to sit quite high for me. So it has to go from here 3 times all the way over to the other side. So with this very professional measuring technique, you could also use a measuring tape, but I do it like this. I check if the size of the square is enough to cover the front of my body. If it's too small, I will add rows. If it's too big, then I added too many rows. So if it would end up somewhere here, I don't want that. I want it to stop with the side of alongside my armpit, I would say. So I already have 2 more here, so I will show you how that looks. So like this. Just test it out with 1 square you're working on to see how many rows you have to do. Alright, so let's pretend that this is the part where I would like to stop crocheting, and this is the size that I needed. To end off the square, after I do my last 3 half double crochets into the corner, I chain 1 and finish off that row as I would normally with a slip stitch like this. And instead of chaining 2 like I would when I would start a new row, I'm only chaining 1. So after chaining 1, I would cut off the yarn and then pull through like this and then pull it tight like that. So I think now is also a good time to show you how I would switch colors if I would like to use different colors within the same granny square. So I would crochet as many rows as I would like in this particular color, and then finish off the square as if I was done with it completely, so just as I just shown you. And then grab my new color. For this example I will use this green. Starting off with a slip knot again. I will put it over the hook and fasten, and then put it off my hook again, so I just have the loop. And now go into any corner space that you like. It doesn't really matter which one. I will go into this one. So I will insert my hook here and then put the slip knot over the hook, pull through, and then chain 2, because now I'm starting a new row, and every new row I start with a chain 2, and then work as usual. So starting with half double crochet, another half double crochet, So I have a cluster of 3 again, chain 1 and work the rows as I would as if I would still have the very first color. And now you can kind of see how that works up. So now I have in total 13 squares, and just as a quick reminder, this is the way we want the squares to connect to each other. I will connect them row by row, starting to connect them along those lines, and after having one row done, I will connect all of the rows together. So now I am going to show you how I connect 2 of the granny squares. The way that I will be doing, or I will be showing you right now, is by crocheting them together. So I usually put them together like this. So when I want these sides to come together, I will grab it like this and put it in front of me. Then I grab my yarn and do a slip stitch, put it on my hook and pull it tight, and then get it off my hook again. Now, looking at my granny squares, I will go into the corner, so the chain 1 space that each corner has, and insert my hook into the chain 1, but not like you would expect, so like this, into both V shapes, so having both loops, but I will only go into the back loop that is closest to the other granny square that I wanted to connect to. And I will have a look and see where the exact same stitch is on the other side, and then go into the loop that is closest to the granny square that I want to connect it with. So I am going through only one loop on each square that is basically on the inside, leaving out the loops that are on the outside. Now putting on my slip stitch again and pulling it through, and then chaining 1. I am only going to be going into the loops that are next to each other, so only one loop on each square, because I want the seam to stand out a little bit more, to give the top a little bit more texture. Since I am using one color only, I think that just adds something nice. So how I'm going to do this is I will go into the next stitch, so grabbing only one loop from the top, and then going from the bottom, only picking up one loop on the other side, yarning over, pulling through, and then pulling through the one loop on my hook. So again, next stitch, I'm going into the loop on the other square, yarning over, pulling through and pulling through. I could also go into the chain space like this and also going from the top on the other side and then doing the same thing. As long as you're doing it the same way all around, I don't think really matters, but this is the way I like to do it. I'm trying not to do the stitches too tight, because otherwise it will bunch up the squares at the seam. So I am trying to crochet it as flat as possible, if that makes sense. Alright, coming to an end, I will stop again at the chain 1. These are going to be my last connecting pieces, like this, and then I will chain 1, snip the yarn, pull through and pull it tight, and now the 2 squares are connected. And then I'm going to repeat that until I have one row, and after doing all of the rows, I will connect the rows in the exact same way, and then most of the top will be done. It is time for the straps. So first I'm going to do the piece that will tie at the back, and then I will do the straps itself. So starting off with a slip knot again, I will chain as many as I think I need for the lace up back. I will just guess right now, maybe I will put it against the top itself, but I think I'll just start by chaining. So when I have the top wrapped around, there is probably a distance of the squares that big, I would say. What you could also do, I just realized, is just take the yarn and thread it through your piece as you would like to wear it, meaning however often you want to crisscross at the back. Thread it through with just the yarn, tie it up, and then snip it off at a place where it would be long enough, and use that as a guide to how long you need the chain to be, or just measure it out without cutting to not waste any yarn. I am just going to lay it down flat right now because it is going to cinch up a little bit more. I try to think about that, and I think I will crisscross it over later like this, probably around that. That looks like I still need the piece a little bit longer, so I will add a couple more stitches. When I'm done chaining the length that I need to tie the back, I will just cut it off, pull it through and tie it, and that's the end. I can dry and weave in later. Now comes the strap parts. Alright, so I have already prepared one strap, so you know what it will look like in the end. I will be doing two of them, so I will grab the yarn again, do a slip knot, and then chain as many as it takes to get from the top of the granny square in the front, over the shoulder, down the back, and to the part where I want to connect the strap. Add a little extra and then double it. I hope that makes sense. So I will be just chaining. So I have chained enough now. And what I'm going to do now is I want the straps to be a little bit thicker than this, because I feel like when it's only the chain, it digs into the shoulder much more than having something that is a little bit wider. So I will go back down that chain with a single crochet. So for doing that, I will insert my hook into the chain space, yarn over, pull through. Now I have 2 loops in my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2. And that's what I'm going to repeat for all the chain spaces. So go into the next chain space, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. A couple more times together. Oh. And that's what I'm gonna do until I'm at the very end again. So I am at the very last stitch of that chain. So I will do one more single crochet, then chain 1, cut off the end, pull it through and pull it tight. And these ends need to get weaved in. And that's the strap done. And I do this 2 times. It's time to assemble. I am so excited. Okay, so I have all the pieces connected how they are supposed to be. So this is the front, so I will just flip it inside out. I have not weaved in the ends yet, so this is the back side. And I am now going to start threading the chain into the back. So I will start by putting it into the corner here, like this, and go to the other side as well, that, and roughly try to have both sides the same length, so it is roughly the middle. So I can start to crisscross now. I think I want to go into these corner spaces here, so I will just choose one side. I think I will take a crochet hook to help myself a little bit, and then last one into the very last corner here. And that is basically the back done, but just to show you, this is how I would tie it in the back. And now the straps. So I have them right here, and I will flip it again and thread one side in the very corner here. And the other side, I will go ahead and put it into the second chain space right here. So there is this space right here, and one further. I will thread it through like this. I think I will go ahead and skip one more. I think I like it like this more. Yeah, I think that's better. So I skipped two chain spaces and went into the third one like this. I will do the same exact thing on the other side. So when I flip it again, I want these straps to go like that and connect here at the end. So I will go through the corner first. Where you put these straps at the back depends a little bit on where these panels sit on your back, because if they are super close together and they almost meet in the middle, you might want to move over where you secure the strap a little bit over to the right. And if they're further apart, you can adjust where you put it. Just try it on and see what feels right. So I already know. The only thing that I don't know yet is at what point I want to tie it down to stay like this, because I don't know yet how this top sits on me. When I try it on, I will determine the length of the straps like that by just pulling and then securing it with a bow or a knot. And now it's time to try it on. If anyone will recreate this for themselves, please let me know. Send me a message, drop a comment, find me on Instagram or TikTok and let me know. I love seeing when anyone recreates something that I put out, and especially I love to see all the colors people choose. The only problem with that is that I then want to basically recreate every possible colorway in the tops that I make, but I still want to see. Yeah, that's it. I will play the montage of me wearing the piece now. Alright, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye! And there we go. Who needs fancy gear when you have an ironing board and a shelf? I hope this works.